All right. First, I want to say good morning to all of you all from Pastor Core here with Straitway, Kansas City of the Straitway Ministries. And, we're back this morning with the Oppressor Is Manifested series. This is part 3 where we will have several pieces to part 3 because we spent time doing some in-depth research to make sure that the information that we were bringing would bring facts. When you bring facts, then we have an opportunity to make informed decisions, which that's what we want to do. Again, this is not an attempt to point fingers, to start a race war or be racist, because this is not what it's about. So if you paid attention to the other parts, then this is not an attempt to, bid people to begin to look at races no more so than getting people to really understand that the Most High Yah deals with people according to nations. And so, again, we're in this part 3. And I tell you, there are going to be some things that's going to make you mad, no matter what race of person you are. You will be angered, after you see some of the things that are going to be presented. We have some information that, it just ties in. That's the main thing. It ties completely into what we would like the people to know concerning why we call ourselves Israel, why we are researching this out in depth like this is, because there's one reason. When I look at the Hebrew roots movement, when I look at people who say they are Torah observant or they follow the Torah, I really find it offensive because you exclude the holy people. And the spirit of the word tells the truth. And that's how I believe I came into the knowledge of the truth, because the spirit that's on the word guided me. It led me because it showed me truth that I didn't need a bunch of research to feel the spirit of Yah unctioning me to look deeper into these things. It was just an amazing time in my life when I first found the word of truth. And I see why people don't want to abide in this truth, because the truth hurts, 1, but 2, then it exposes. And so that's what our intent is today. So let's move on. I thank you guys for getting back here with me. And, I've been really fired up just talking to the saints internally about this information. And I'm telling you, people have shedded tears behind the information I'm getting ready to present to you. So make sure you are tuned in. Be sure to watch all the videos again in this part 3 series. There may be a B, a C, a D, a E, and possibly an F. I'm going to try to keep these videos down to 20 minutes so that you can really sit and, not have to sit for hours to try to get this in, but you can watch it, process the information, go research it, and then go on to the next part. So if you are here with me right now and you're getting ready to enter into what we call O.I.M part 3, then that means that you have a high interest in what's going on. That means that you believe that this information is true. And even if you don't believe it's true, then maybe you're spying on our liberty and you just want to get in to see if I'm telling the truth or you can expose me. One thing you got to watch out about trying to expose me is you finding out the truth and then you being converted. All right. Here's what we have in our lineup of O.I.M part 3. All right. 1, we're going to go back and deal with meaning of names. All right. We're going to deal with meaning of names because it's very important. That was the culture. Again, to know that names meant something. All right. We're going to look at behavioral genetics. Are we going to look at behavioral genetics? Because that tells a lot about people. That even tells a lot about people who find themselves participating in this thing we call oppression and depression. And there's a mindset and there's a spirit that goes along with this behavioral genetics, because these things that we're going to find out and we're going to see, we're going to note that they have been passed down from generation to generation. All right. And so we want to make sure that we pay full detail attention to those things. All right. We also going to look at the nature of Japheth. Okay. Want to make sure that we look at the nature of Japheth, because that's where we're going to be able to match up behavioral genetics and then look at what was already predetermined concerning Japheth. All right. We're also going to look at some X factor material showing the deeds of Japheth. So I want to make sure that you guys stay with us on that. Hey, we're going to have a good time with this. Hey, we'll be going to the next screen. Give me 1 second. All right, guys, we back. Had to take a quick break because I know we had some folks coming into the gym, so I wanted to make sure I got to a place where we can continue in on the things that we're talking about. But this is what our lineup for O.I.M 3, Oppressor Is Manifested 3 lineup is going to entail. And I tell you what, wow. I mean, just looking at this, one thing that I'm excited about is the X Factor material, because that is going to go into a lot of understanding to where when we find out the name of Japheth, then there's not going to be a question about what it is that we really need to place our eyes on to note what truly has gone on in history, so that we can really track down, who our people are, and then track down who the oppressor and the enemy is truly, and then therefore we can start preaching the truth to the nations, because that's what it comes down to. It's not about collusion or inclusion or any of these other things that people try to make religion out to be. I have a video I downloaded of T.D. Jakes, and he said that he was a Gentile, and then he had one of the congregation members that he referred to, and he also said he's a Gentile, and they both come in, through Christianity, which is rooted in Judaism, and Judaism is rooted in the faith of Abraham. And so therefore you come in on the promise. But see, the Most High Yah is going to deal with the nations according to prophecy. So there's no way you can call yourself Gentile. And so we want to deal with that, as well as look at why it's so important to look at who the Gentiles are, so we can quit calling people Edomites and things that don't even matter, when it comes down to the fight that's out front and what's ahead. It matters on who the nation of the Gentiles are, because even in the end, the time of the end, the Gentiles are still going to make a valid fight. Don't say the Edomites are going to come up. And when you look at who they are in Magog and Gog, then we're going to find out that these are the same seeds of Japheth. All right? Let's go on. All right. Well, let's get going here. I had the video. All right. Let's look at Isaiah 14:1. And it says, "For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob." So this is why I said that about Gentiles. And so this is why even you see in the Brit Hadashah, or the New Testament, where it says, "Preach the gospels to the end of the earth, because it shall be as a witness to them." So if they receive it, then guess what? The witness is that it was laid open to them. And if they don't receive it, then it's also laid as a witness to them that they rejected Yah, and they rejected his salvation that he sent to all those who would receive his salvation. And so I wanted to bring that out because we're not, intently trying to separate ourselves above and beyond, anybody who is in the earth desiring to serve the Most High Yah. That is not our intent. Our intent is make sure that we uncover lies, uncover those things which are supposed to be truth, but they are hidden in plain sight from the righteous seed of Yisra'el. So that's what we want to make sure that we do. All right, let's move on. All right, the nature of Japheth. All right, and we want to talk about the nature of Japheth because, I have some things on here that I had in the first teaching where I have to overthrow, all right, to deceive, to perform a sinister operation. That is Japheth. That is Japheth. I say it again, that is the seed of Japheth. So when we get down to the behavioral aspect of this teaching, then we're going to see how exactly this comes into play. And I didn't, make this up. Searching through the Bible, this is what we were able to find when we started looking back in the Hebraic through the history and the meaning of the name Japheth, and we go back and to find out the things concerning him, then these are the things that we come up with. So don't get mad. Go do like what we do. But I'm going to even, in fact, show it to you here on the screen. Let's move on. All right. All right. Genesis 9:27. All right. This is where we get the word enlarge from. And it says, Yah shall enlarge Japheth. Then it says, and he, talking about Japheth, shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. So you see this, we have the seed of Japheth, and we have that he's going to rest, he's going to dwell, he's going to live, stay in the tents of Shem. That means his tents could be his land, his tents could be his house, his tent could be the places where he have set up his heritage. Japheth is going to dwell there. All right. And Canaan is going to serve Japheth in his process of enlarging. All right. All right. Now let's go to the next. All right. Let's take a peek into the Bible app and look at Hebrew 66:01, the word enlarge. All right. Again, because it describes Japheth biblically. All right. And I'm taking my time reading this because I want you to make sure that you are truly understanding, what we're talking about and what's going on with this as we move through this study. All right. Now, here it is in the Strongs. All right. It says a primitive root to open, that is, be, causatively make roomy, usually figuratively in a mental or moral sense. Look what it says. Usually figuratively in a mental or moral sense. To be, causatively make simple, or in a sinister way. Then look at these last aspects of the word enlarge from his Hebraic understanding. To delude, allure, deceive, enlarge, entice, flatter, persuade, silly one. All right. So That's what it means. So regardless of what is said, I am concerned for Israel, and we have to become knowledgeable of the way Hasatan, that's Satan, is using the seed of Japhet. We got to become knowledgeable that we can't continue to just go along with this collusion and inclusion that we're doing and all this buffoonery that causes people to make errors when it comes down to understanding why people are waking up and calling themselves Israelite. We cannot disregard this, because this is a main factor in understanding, because Yah is going to destroy nations. And there's a price to pay that the Gentile nation is going to pay for many reasons. All right. For many reasons, they're going to have to pay. And we got to understand that. So we cannot go around calling ourselves Gentiles when there is a proclamation against the Gentiles. Now, we can preach the gospel to every creature. That includes all those who would listen. So if those are Gentiles who listen, then guess what? We can't keep anybody out the kingdom who submits. There's many instances where other nations have come as strangers and submitted themselves, and they were converted. So this is one of the reasons why I say you can't do inclusion, but you can be converted. Inclusion means you accept their gods, you accept who they are, and they don't have to truly understand what's going on. We got to understand what's going on so that now we know for sure why we accept salvation, because there's destructions coming on other nations who have done wickedly against the Most High Yah. They have done wickedly to his heritage. They have done wickedly against his people. And there's going to be a price to pay. And so all those who come and bind themselves to the covenant, like we saw in Isaiah 14, those are going to be the sons of Yah. Those are going to be those who are going to be in the kingdom, regarded as those doing righteous. All right, hallelujah. All right, here's a map. All right, again, that I want to make sure that I bring out to you guys here in the video, because if we see, as we look in the green area, that's the land that Ham was given. In the golden area, that's the land that Shem was given. All right, and not only that, but it extends across there, because in the green, you see where that box is right there between the brown and the green. That's where the land of Canaan extended. Now, the thing about that, all of that, you see, this land where you got green, all right, this land mass belonged to Shem, all right? And you see here at the top where you have red, that's the land of Japheth. Now you got to keep that in mind. But the land of Canaan was given to Shem beforehand. All right. And that can be found in the book of Jubilees. Okay. And so it's a reason why the Father said that he was going to give the land of Canaan to Israel, to the Israelites, as a portion, because that was already promised way back in Shem's day. And I went through that in our initial teaching when we talked about the Oppressor Is Manifested, in Sabbath. And that teaching, all of these things will be in a group where you can find all of these videos together in the playlist, because I want you to make sure you share this with people so they can really get an understanding about what's going on. All right, let's move on. All right. And this is from the book of Jubilees right here. This is from chapter 8, and we're going to look at verse 29 and 30. This is the land which came forth for Japheth and his sons as the portion of his inheritance, which he should possess for himself and his sons for their generations forever. All right. That was the land that he was supposed to have. All right. And it says 5 great islands and a great land in the north. All right. That's what was given to Japheth. All right. But Japheth extended past that. We saw that Yah was going to enlarge him. Now, the enlarging had nothing to do with because Japheth was a good seed or a righteous man or any of that. But you see, when we look at enlarge, those words were associated with deceit, deceive, allure. All right. sinister, things like that. So we see in Jubilees, Japheth was given a land that he was supposed to possess forever, all right? And guys, look like we may go over our 20-minute mark, but we don't have too many more slides to go in our first video A of part 3. So we'll just keep going, all right? All right, verse 30 says, but it is cold. Notice how it says the land that Japheth was given is cold, all right? And the land of Ham is hot. And the land of Shem is neither hot nor cold, but it is of blended cold and heat. All right, that's what it says concerning the land that Shem was given. You saw what it says concerning the land that Ham was given. And then, of course, we see that the land that Japheth was given was cold. So that's interesting in itself. All right, so what we're going to do now is go out to Genesis chapter 10, verses 1 through 5. And we want to read that just for the purpose of making sure that you understand that it specifies specifically who the Gentiles are. All right. So bear with me. We'll go out to that. All right. Here we go. Genesis 10. Now, these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood, the sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Rephathah, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dudanim. And by these were the isles of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. So obviously here, the Gentiles is considered as a nation. Just like when we go down, we scroll down and we look and we find right here, and we come here to verse 20, and it says, these are the sons of Ham, after their families, after their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations. So Ham was considered Hamites, all right? The Japhethites, all right, are known as Gentiles, all right? We don't see that the Hamites have any mention here in the Torah that they are Gentiles, all right? So as we go down through the history, there is no way we can be Gentiles, all right? There is no way. And then here, verse 31, it says, these are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, after their nations. So the Shemitic people, all right, are Shemites, all right, they are not mentioned as Gentiles. So we got to dispel that lie. So let's get back to our slides, and then we'll be ending the video here shortly, all right? All right, we're back. So now let's look at the meaning of names. Of course, we're going to look at the meaning of names of Japheth, Ham, and Shem. All right. All right. Japheth is the first name that we're going to be going over, and I want you guys to make sure you pay attention. All right. Here it is from the Hebrew 33:15. All right. Japheth means open. All right. And open means like spread out. All right. And it says the third son of Noah here in the BDB, Brown Drivers Briggs. All right. The third son of Noah, whose descendants after the flood settled on the coastal lands of the Mediterranean, spreading north into Europe and parts of Asia. So when you see the word Europeans, that's also associated with Japheth. When you see the word the coastlands, when you see the Bible prophesying to the coastlands, it's also talking about the seed of Japheth. All right. And when you see Gentile, it's also referring to the seed of Japheth. All right. Let's keep going. All right. The next son that we're talking about is Ham. All right, here we go. All right, Ham. All right, meaning hot. So look at it right away. We see the son or the name of Ham is associated with hot. So we know that we saw in Jubilees where the land that he was given was hot. And we also see Europe, all right, where the Caucasus Mountains was, that was a cold place, all right? So again, that is associated with Japheth. So we can't hide from these facts, all right? It says the second son of Noah, the father of Canaan, and of various people which were inhabitants of the southern lands. All right. So we just want to make sure that we touch that. In late usage, a collective name for the Egyptians. All right. The third place where Chedorlaomer smote Zuzim, probably in the territory of the Ammonites, Gilead, east of the Jordan. All right. So I just want to make sure that we touch those things. All right. The third son that we'll touch is going to be Shem. All right. And so let's look. Shem. All right. Now we look at this in the Brown's Driver Briggs. Shem name means name. All right. The eldest son of Noah and the progenitor of the Semitic tribes. All right. So the Shemites came from, this is the progenitor of them. So there's no way you can mix Gentiles into the Shemitic people. That means that line is going to travel. It's just like you have a family line. And so we just can't add people into your family line who is not there. Only way to be into that family if you marry into that family. All right. And if you marry into that family, then you become a in-law. All right. You are, according to law, you become a part of that family. And so the same thing with the people who was given the Torah. You convert. All right. Yah was married to Israel. And so you also can take on that marriage covenant and become a part of that family that way. But you can't change, all right, the bloodline that is going down. You can't replace that bloodline. This is what we have. We have replacement theology. You have people replacing the Shemitic people or Semitic people. And that's why we're digging into this, because you're going to see some things, especially when we look at some of the X Factor material, then it's going to be without a doubt. So make sure you store up all this base information. I got to keep going over this same stuff over and over because you forget and you can't remember the things that you ought to that's necessary. All right. All right. Now, my question is, why? All right. Why would the meaning of Shem be name? All right, let's look at that. All right, when we look at 8034, all right, that goes more in depth in the Brown Driver's Brig, it says name, all right? Name, reputation, fame, glory. The name as designation of Yah, memorial, all right, monument. So when we look at that, this is what we want to talk about with that. When we look in the book of Jubilees, when we look in Jasher, all right, when we look at the portion of Shem, Shem was in the line of Yah. He was always, it even said in Genesis chapter 9, the Elohim of Shem, the Elohim of Shem. It didn't say of Japheth or Ham. It said that for a reason. And then, as I begin to study that deeper, then I see that it was because of the line, the promise was in the line of Shem. That's why we see that these people had come out from, the Shemitic people, the Israelites came, they descended from this manner of people. All right. So I wanted to make sure that we pay attention to that in-depth detail, because it's going to matter. It's going to make a difference, because people feel like, well, why would Yah choose one people when he made all these people? He's the creator of all these people. Well, he has an order also. Even when we see that it is spoken of that in the end, all nations are going to flow to the mountain of Yah to the house of Jacob. Why ain't flowing to just any old nation? That's a prophecy. You can't erase that. All you theologians and all you religious people, answer that question. Why didn't he just pick any of the other people? Well, it was an order. All of this stuff is in line with what I'm talking about. He's picking the people from a Shemitic people who was chosen from the beginning. And so that's where these people are going to come from. All right. Now, so by the meaning name, we see without adding to the word, Shem was a chosen line. All right. That leads us back to the enlarged and the spirit of Japheth, and a closer look at his behavior in deceitfully increasing. All right. So we're going to stop right here. You know, our video has gone on well into 30 minutes, and I don't want it to be too much longer than this, because we have plenty of things that we're going to talk about in this. When we come back in our next part, I'm going to have a guest on, you know, in Sister Gabby, because, you know, she's always studying things concerning birth and traits. You know, we've even, you know, looked at the fact when we talked about women becoming property of men due to men sharing their DNA. And after a woman lays with a man for so long, then her DNA is affected by that man. And so that was one of the reasons why a woman would not, you know, want to have multiple husbands, because then she has many DNAs operating in her, which also affects her mental capacity, because DNA also affects behavior. All right. And so that's one of the things when we're looking at the, you know, behavioral things pertaining to Japheth, because that is in his line. All right. So thank you guys for listening to part 1. Hey, I'm Pastor Core here with the Straitway Ministries. We'll be back with video B of O.I.M. part 3. All right. We'll be back with video B. Hey, you all be blessed. Shalom, shalom.